Okay, everybody, it is me, Gregory Mannarino. It is Friday, finally, July 8th, 2022. People, they're trying to sell you a lie yet again, and it just doesn't stop. So this morning, apparently we got some miraculous news here on the jobs front. Oh, we're adding jobs. Oh, and the unemployment rate is 3.6%. None of it's real. I think you all understand that. You got the mainstream propaganda ministry, CNBC, Steve Leisman, out here this morning trying to convince people that, oh, I don't see a recession. We're not in one. Everything is just fantastic. I don't know what to tell you. Again, it's all part of the same scheme. They must convince you that what you're seeing with your own eyes is not real. This is, I think, typical of every empire that you want to look back on history, that it has faded away into oblivion. The lies towards the end, how they try to convince people, again, of things that just are not true. Well, again, just look back on history. You see the same pattern repeated over and over and over again. The American empire is quickly fading away. And it's not just here. It's not just the American empire. This global thing that is going on here, we're in a major transitionary phase to clearly a one world government being run by central banks who are pulling the strings in every which way possible. And as we are well aware, you and me, a whole new set of rules, a new paradigm, a system of control to an extreme is coming. And we're definitely in that transitionary phase here. And you can see this, honestly, by the lies, the propaganda, the distractions, the distortions, everything. I think it's pretty evident to at least people like you and I who can maybe see a little further down the road than the next guy. So it's funny, on the back of this, great news that we got today, and we're waiting for the specifics, at least I am, and we'll cover more of this later today. On the back of this fantastic news, stock futures are actually lower. You can't make that up either. Imagine if it really were great economic news. No, the market's not buying it. Although, again, we've seen some miraculous action here in the stock market, in the debt market. S&P 500 now out of bear market territory. That we've never been in a crash. This is, in my opinion, still some kind of scheme to prop up this market via central banks fueling the debt market, massively inflationary. We all know that. But it's interesting. You didn't even hear a word, not a single word from the mainstream media about what's happening with regard to the European Central Bank and the Federal Reserve with their emergency monetary policy, unconventional policy. You don't hear about it at all. Again, they're not allowed to talk about it because people might say, hold on a minute, why is this going on? Our economy's great, everything is awesome. Why are these central banks involved in what clearly appears to be yet another massive round of backdoor quantitative easing? They're buying it all. But again, the people cannot be allowed to know it. It's a sick, crazy situation. Itchy nose again. Allergies are terrible. Anyway, so that's the story this morning. It's pretty interesting. But let's look over at the market. Like I said, so stock futures, last time I looked, Dow futures was slightly in the positive. S&P futures negative. NASDAQ futures negative here. 10-year yield 3.06. Okay, we're getting moves higher in the 10-year yield. But again, remember what I said last time before we saw that big spike here in the 10-year yield? In my view, and I think a lot of you would agree with me, in the current environment, we should see that 10-year yield settle around 3.2, 3.25, something around those lines. And if we start seeing a move much higher above that very rapidly, And who knows what can happen in this environment? Then it's a very, very bad sign to all of us that things are just, turning to shit faster. Anyway, so that's the story this morning with that. We got crude oil right now under some pressure. Gold and silver under some pressure. Dollar relatively flat. Relative strength of the dollar. Okay. Comparative strength slightly lower. Bitcoin around 21,500. That's the setup. That's where we stand. Let's see where this market goes. Again, consider the fact that there is unprecedented action going on right now to continue to fuel the debt bubble. Again, what do we have, people? We have a debt-based economic model. It demands that this happen. It can't function another way. The entire system, being that it is debt-based, must be fueled every day with more and more and more debt. And more debt slaves need to be added to the equation every day. It can't stop. No one's going to tell you this. No politician, nobody. Imagine if, let's say, our current president, brain dead Biden, mummy man, I called him mummy man recently, were to tell people that this is how the system works, henceforth why trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in spending. Or if President Donald Trump would have said, hey, listen, guys, I got a big secret to tell you. We have a debt-based economic model, and it must be expanded on in perpetuity. It can't stop. No one will tell you the truth. They can't do it. Maybe they'll end up in some kind of bad kind of situation if they would ever tell you that truth, but that is the truth. And that mechanism can't ever stop. And in my view, and I've been thinking yours too, this transitionary period that we're in right now, moving to a one world government, which we already have. I mean, they're all puppets. Every single world leader, they're all puppets, okay? Following along lockstep with whatever central banks are telling them to do, okay? The central banks control the money. They run the entire financial system of the world. That means they get to dictate the rules. Pretty straightforward. I think we all understand that. And unfortunately, because of that, there's going to be a lot more control, especially when we move to the new system, the new completely digital system, no cash, every transaction tracked down to the fraction of a cent. You won't even be able to lend somebody $5 for a gallon of gas, although it's more than that now, without them knowing about it. Okay, it's all about control. Everything we're seeing is about control, extreme control. Also extreme haves, extreme have-nots, middle class becoming extinct. And what are they doing about it? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All they want to do is they're looking towards the government or the puppet government for help. Help me. Help me. I need help. Help. The same institution that is systematically destroying them. And this is where people are being told to look to for help. It's an amazing situation. So anyway, that's the story this morning. Apparently some miraculous news. It's all fake. None of it's real. The data, all of it. We all know that. It's propaganda. And the mechanism here is very, very simple. I think we all have a good handle on it. All right, so that's it, people. That's where we stand. Let's see what happens today. Keep your eyes on that 10-year yield, 3.06. Last time I looked at it, the MMRI, Mannarino Market Risk Indicator, went orange yesterday. Next step, red. Let's see where that goes here. Interesting stuff. Again, there is a link to the MMRI in the description of this video, 100% free. All right, that's it. This guy here loves you a lot. I mean that. Please comment, share the video, and I will see you later.